My name is Emily Carter. I am telling this story because some wounds don't scream. They slowly bleed in silence and break you from the inside. I live in a quiet, ordinary town in Ohio, USA. From the outside, my life looked perfect. A decent home, a stable marriage, and a husband people love to call the ideal man. My husband's name is Daniel Carter. We had been married for 8 years. 8 years. And I can say with complete honesty that I never gave only half of my heart to this relationship. I quit my job for Daniel. I placed my dreams on hold because I believed marriage was teamwork. The early years were truly beautiful. Daniel used to make me coffee every morning, kiss my forehead before leaving for work, and ask me about my day every night. I thought, this was love. But then, slowly, something began to change. First, he started coming home late. Then his phone was always in his hand. And then, he started avoiding my eyes. I kept telling myself that it was all in my head. After all, this is America. Everyone is busy here. But the heart understands long before the mind accepts. One night I realized he was lying next to me, but he wasn't really there. I whispered his name, Daniel. He startled, as if I had pulled him back from another world. Yes? What is it? I said softly. You feel distant. He smiled, the same smile that now feels fake to me. You overthink, Amy. He called me Amy. That name once made me feel safe. Now it made me feel alone. That night, for the first time, I thought about checking his phone, and I hated myself for reaching that point. But the phone was locked, and Daniel, he slept holding it against his chest, as if it wasn't a device, but a secret. The next day, I met my friend Sophia. We were sitting in a cafe. She was wiser than me, and maybe braver too. She looked at me carefully and said, "You don't look okay, Emily." I tried to smile. "I'm just tired." She stayed quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Wasn't Daniel's ex named Rachel?" My coffee cup almost slipped from my hands. Rachel. A name I never spoke out loud, but had buried somewhere in my heart. "Yes, why?" I asked with difficulty. Sophia took a breath. "I saw her last week. With Daniel." My ears started ringing. I whispered, "Where?" "At a coffee shop." They were sitting very close. I immediately defended him. Maybe it was work-related. They have history. Sophia spoke gently. "Emily, no one laughs like that. With their past." I walked back home, with trembling steps. I waited for Daniel. When he finally arrived, I asked him directly, "Are you seeing Rachel?" He looked at me. There was no shock in his eyes, the kind that comes with innocence. "Who told you?" I asked again. "Is it true?" He got irritated. "She's my ex, Amy. We're friends." Friends. That word pierced straight through my heart. Friends? Then why didn't you tell me? He stood up. "Because you turn everything into drama." That was the first time. He raised his voice at me. I went silent, and that silence became my biggest mistake. That night, I didn't speak, and neither did Daniel. But I knew something had broken, and I had no idea. This was only the beginning. I tried to start the next day as normally as possible, but inside my heart was a storm. Rachel's name, Daniel's voice, that fake smile. Everything kept spinning in my mind for hours. I tried to focus on work, but every moment kept asking, are they really just friends? Or is it something else? During dinner that night, Daniel came home as usual, but something was different. There was a strange tension on his face, as if he was carrying a heavy secret inside. I gathered my courage and asked, "Daniel, tell me the truth about Rachel." He paused, then said, "Emily, you always exaggerate everything. We only meet like friends." I perked up my ears. "Only meet? Then the way she was laughing at you, that was just laughter." He took a deep breath. "Emily, you'll never understand. You always look for faults in every moment." I went silent, but inside fear was growing, a premonition of the bitter truth I could sense but could not yet speak. The first betrayal. A few days later, I accidentally saw a chat. Daniel's laptop was open, and Rachel's name kept appearing again and again. He had written, "Emily is suffocating. I feel more free with you, Rachel." My heart seemed to stop. I wanted to read more, but my hands were shaking. The next message said, "Emily traps me, you understand me. I wish you were as easy as Rachel." I sat down and whispered to myself, "This can't be. It can't be real." Inner peace shattered. I didn't eat all night. I just sat there thinking that the person who once filled my life with comfort was now destroying my dignity. I decided I had to confront him, but as I picked up the phone, my heart whispered, silence can also be a form of strength. Yet that silence was breaking me more with every passing moment. Confrontation and mockery. One evening I said to Daniel, "I saw your chat. I know everything." He immediately got defensive. "You invaded my privacy. That's your real mistake, Emily." I saw no regret on his face, only defensiveness and certainty in himself. I said, listening carefully, "This is not just about privacy. It's about love and respect. Anyone who badmouths their wife in front of another woman is not a husband. He is a burden." Even after hearing me, he did not lower his head. He just walked out silently. The ex returns. A few days later, Rachel returned to the US. Daniel told me she wanted to meet him. I immediately said, "You are married. This is not right." He laughed. "You're insecure, Emily. She's just a friend. Why are you worried?" I thought to myself, if this is a friend, friends don't break hearts like this. Is this love or deception? Who is playing with whose feelings? Inner strength. For several days I talked to myself, understood my weaknesses, felt my fears, and finally decided I would stay silent, but I would stand for my dignity. I thought, if they want me to remain weak, I won't give them that chance. My life, my respect, I will carry forward. Thinking this, my heart felt slightly lighter. Some strength returned, like the first ray of sun after a dark night. That night, Daniel and Rachel went out to meet. I was home alone, but my inner eyes saw everything. I thought, this meeting will change everything. Tomorrow I will know if he is really playing with my dignity, or if he will finally realize his mistake. And that night, I made my first firm resolve. I will never let anyone control my self-respect. My life, my decisions, and my strength belong only to me. The next morning, I woke up with a strange sense of calm. It wasn't calm born of fear or joy, but from the realization that now the decision was entirely mine. My dignity, my life, and my heart, no longer in anyone else's hands. The news of Daniel and Rachel's meeting had unsettled me, but I knew I would not become part of their games. I told myself, Emily, stay silent but remain strong inside. This fight is not outside. It is within your heart. The day of the meeting. That afternoon I kept everything at home as usual. I made tea, tidied the rooms, but every heartbeat echoed in my ears. What will they do during the meeting? Will Daniel understand his mistake? Can I show my strength through my silence? Then my phone buzzed. "I'm coming." A message from Daniel. My heart was racing, but I took a deep breath and turned off the phone. Now my calm resided in my silence, not his presence. Facing the truth. That night Daniel returned. He looked tired, yet the same old restlessness lingered in his eyes. I looked at him and said, "Do you understand what you've done? Badmouthing me in front of Rachel, playing with my feelings. All of this was your choice." Daniel said nothing. His eyes lowered. He knew that every word, every action of his, could no longer take away my respect. I said, "I gave you a place in my heart, but you treated it as a deception. Now I will protect my heart myself." Inner strength. For several days I had reflected, faced my fears, and turned my silence into power. And now that moment had arrived where I felt completely strong. I decided to end this relationship, not with hatred, but to safeguard my dignity and peace. The decision was not easy, but it was necessary. I told myself, from now on, your life, your strength, your respect. No one else holds them. This is your right. Facing disappointment. A few days later, Daniel noticed my stance. He came back trying to apologize, but I was no longer the woman who silently endured everything. I said, "I can forgive you, but this relationship can never be the same again." From now on, my principles, my boundaries, and my dignity come first. Regret shone in his eyes, but I knew he had learned his lesson too late. I told myself, this lesson makes me stronger, Emily, and I will move forward because of it. Steps toward my life. The next day, I focused more on my work. I reclaimed my dreams, my friends, my happiness, everything that was mine. Now I needed no one's permission. My life, my strength, my dignity, all belonged solely to me. I told myself, I didn't allow him to take my respect. I am the hero of my life, the narrator of my story. Now no one can make me feel weak. I tell this story so that women remember, silence is not weakness, and endurance is never disgrace. Anyone who plays with your heart and respect has no claim over your peace. I learned this. My dignity, my strength, my life, these are mine, and I will never let them fall into anyone else's hands. If something like this has ever happened in your life, share your story in the comments. You're not alone.